Have you ever had that feeling? You're talking, you're explaining, but you can just tell your students aren't really getting it? Well, today we are going to distill a masterclass on teaching into a short, powerful guide. We're going to look at how to transform your classroom based on some really cool insights from a recent teacher training session. Okay, let's just dive right in with a couple of, well, frankly, weird-sounding questions. But stick with me because they might just hit surprisingly close to home for a lot of us. So, a recent survey asked a group of teachers about their classroom habits, and what they found reveals a few common traps that, honestly, even the best of us can fall into. So, let's do a little self-check. First one up, the over-explainer. In this group, a pretty clear majority admitted to this. And look, it almost always comes from a good place, right? We just want to be really, really thorough. But as we're about to see, that desire to help can actually backfire. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's this wild paradox. Whether we say way too much or way too little, the end result is exactly the same. We end up with a confused student, and that learning moment, poof, it's gone. All right, next up, we've got the self-answering habit. This one split the group right down the middle, 50-50. And you know what this is. It's when you ask a great question, and then that silence hits, and it feels awkward, so you just jump in and answer it yourself. There's a brilliant term for this. Pause eating. You're literally eating up that vital, silent processing time that your students need to actually think. When we eat the pause, we are basically robbing them of the chance to learn for themselves. So you might be wondering, where do these habits like over-explaining and pause eating even come from? Well, they're often just symptoms of a much deeper issue. Some kind of outdated beliefs about what being a good teacher is supposed to look like. Let's dig into another one. Get this. A staggering 11 out of 12 teachers in that survey group admitted they often find themselves explaining something that they could have just demonstrated. That single stat highlights a huge gap between what we intend to do and what actually works best. I mean, we've all heard this a million times, right? But it's so true in the classroom. We have to make that mental shift from feeling like we have to tell our students everything to focusing on showing them what they need to know and do. But to really change our habits for good, we have to go even deeper. We need to look right at the myths that created them in the first place and challenge them head on. Okay, myth number 1. We have to correct every single mistake the second it's made. The reality? Constantly jumping in to correct a student just makes them shut down. It totally kills their confidence and fluency. The pro move is to use delayed feedback, especially when you want them to just talk. And myth number 2. Using a student's native language is some kind of cardinal sin of teaching. But the modern professional way to look at it is as a strategic tool. It's perfect for making a beginner feel comfortable or for clarifying a really complex instruction. It's not a crutch, it's a bridge. So if we're gonna bust these myths, what do we replace them with? Well, the answer is a proactive strategy we can call the management playbook, and it's all built on 3 core classroom skills. So, what are these pillars? First, establishing genuine rapport because kids learn best from teachers they actually like and trust. Second, giving crystal clear instructions. This is the foundation for everything. And third, active monitoring, which is how you guide the learning while it's actually happening. Let's really zoom in on that second one. Okay, so giving instructions. Let's be honest, we've all been there. You're kind of thinking on your feet, and the instructions come out sounding a little something like this. It's hesitant, you're correcting yourself, and for the students, it's just a recipe for confusion. Now, compare that mess to this. It's short, it's direct, it's time-bound. There is zero room for confusion here. This is how you get an activity started smoothly and quickly. The difference is just night and day. And you can boil this whole process down to 4 super simple steps. 1. Get their attention. 2. Be direct and simple. 3. Demonstrate. Show, don't just tell. And 4, and this is crucial, check for understanding. Don't just ask, do you understand, because they'll always say yes. Ask a targeted question like, so, are you working alone or with a partner? When you put all these little techniques together, from not eating the pause to giving clear instructions, it's actually about something much bigger than just classroom management. It all points to a really fundamental shift in the teacher's role. The old model, right, was the sage on the stage, the all-knowing expert up at the front doing all the talking. But the goal of modern, truly effective teaching is to become the guide on the side, the person who sets things up clearly and then steps back to help students discover the learning for themselves.
So, it all comes down to this one last question for you to think about. In your classroom, who are you? Are you the sage on the stage, the star of the show? Or are you the guide on the side, the director who empowers the cast to be brilliant? Your answer really will define what happens next.